arrived in Costa Rica on a day in late August. The turbulence descending into San Jose was a sure harbinger for rocky weather to come. We stepped off of the plane, gathered our belongings, and met the NUin crew curbside. Just a few hours earlier, I was in the comfort of my home in Boston, posing in front of all my things before they went into my suitcase, planning on using the exact photo I took in this specific video. But now, I was in Costa Rica, what would be my temporary home for the following 4 months. Because I was unable to get a good look at the city from the seat of my plane, stepping out into the airport was like being born into Costa Rica. The months that followed would serve to shape my perspective through the idiosyncratic cultural immersion I was about to endure.
Fire, fire on the mountain. Fire, fire on the mountain. Fire, fire on the mountain.
Not only did I learn about culture, but I also think the lessons I regard as most valuable were the lessons I learned about myself. Things I wouldn't have known had I not jumped out of my comfort zone in such a transitional period of my life. I remember vividly sitting in the stuffy on-site orientation classroom watching 4 of these digital storytelling projects in a row, thinking about how my experience would differ from those of those students. Now I know that I could have never predicted my experiences here, and that everyone, myself especially, had a unique, irreplaceable first semester. As I am a freshman, I still have a lot of room to grow. I have maturing to do and I have responsibilities to take care of. When I learned a few lessons the hard way here in Costa Rica, I was grateful for the chance to spend 4 months with the same 30 kids. Initially, I loathed the fact that the group was so small, and at one point, I went so far as to compare it to torture. Now, if you look at it like that, then that is what it will be, torture. And I learned a lot about who I was thanks to the small size of our group. No running, no hiding, just facing the facts. Now, another difficult thing that I had to adapt to was the food. I have to say, normally I go to other countries and I'm in love with the food, but that wasn't the case with Costa Rica. I found some good places and began making food on my own, but those first few weeks eating soggy ham and cheese sandwiches were rough. I had to beg the people in the restaurant not to put my sandwich in the microwave, something that previously to me seemed to be a given. And all of that aside, I've learned some very unconventional lessons about culture and about myself. I feel as though when foreigners, myself especially as one of them, try and experience other cultures, we use an us and them mentality. Phrases like, "Oh, this is so much better," "Why don't we have this?" "They do it like this," and so on and so forth, seem commonplace in the outsider's guide to insert country's name, culture. In Costa Rica, however, it isn't what I would describe as a melting pot, and actually few cultures are. Social norms run deep, and change comes more slowly than it does in the US. Upon realizing this, the task of assimilation, even ever so slight, seemed daunting, so I stuck with my American friends, because it was with them that I felt most comfortable. And so, we drifted across the country, visiting various tourist hotspots such as Jaco, Montezuma, and Playa Hermosa. We saw beautiful sights and shared many good times and memories. But I was unsure of one aspect, the culture. I felt trapped with myself, with my friends, and with the cultural death I was beginning to die, snuggling up with the security of my native language. I was dissatisfied walking around with groups of only Americans, surrounded by groups of only non-Americans. It was a feeling I had never experienced before, one I regard as highly valuable. I knew I couldn't change who I was. I couldn't become Costa Rican. But one thing I knew I could do was make some Costa Rican friends. I went over to a local pool hall and started playing with the owner and a few other guys who went there, some my age, some older. It became a regular thing, and soon enough I was getting to know all the people that went there. It felt nice, walking into the place knowing that all the usuals, and at the same time, I knew that I was on the path to becoming one. Overall, I'm glad I went here, to Costa Rica. I made lots of new friends and learned a lot about myself. I think that the first semester is a time for growing and learning. I'm glad that mine took place here in Costa Rica. The lessons I learned are invaluable.
Me siento en el aire, por eso cuando te veo, comienzo a besarte.